Hello everyone. Pleasant spring afternoon to you. I hope you're able to get out and enjoy some of this weather. It's still just a little nippy with that wind, but it is very nice out today. So I hope you have a chance to get out and enjoy. If this is your first time visiting this channel or this page, thank you. I'm glad you came. My name is Ray. I am your Sunday school teacher. This page is called My Sunday School Class. I said that wrong. The page is called My Sunday School Class, and I'm your Sunday school teacher. I do a lot of videos, I call them flash videos, and all I do is take a passage from the Bible that you may or may not be familiar with, but a story, a certain passage, something that may be included in the larger picture passage, but you aren't quite sure what it's talking about, or maybe there's a cultural thing or a traditional thing that you aren't aware of because it's the Middle East and we may not practice whatever it is. There may be a word that you're unfamiliar with. If it's been translated into English, it may not have the complete meaning from the original language. And the Bible was written in Hebrew, in Greek, and in Aramaic. So it's one of those three languages. But I take nuggets from these passages and I try to expand on them. Well, what we're working on right now is a series about the gates of Jerusalem. And I never really put a whole lot of thought into the reason why Nehemiah rebuilt the city gates the way he did. But as I've been reading through Nehemiah with a friend of mine, the gates came up. And so I started looking into them, and we did the other in our previous video, the sheep gate. And the reason why that was so significant was because that's where the sheep for the sacrificial offerings were brought through, and it was very significant in its location right near the Temple Mount. So if you haven't seen the first video of this series, I would encourage you to go back to my page. It's My Sunday School Teacher, and I would encourage you to look at that video. It's called the Gates of Jerusalem. So we've got that. I would like to have you like this page, share this page, comment on this page, comment on this video if you'd like. I also go to YouTube. I broadcast live on Facebook, and then a little later I'll put it up on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, I would just ask that you would hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, just to let me know that you're there and that you're enjoying what I'm teaching. So we're going to get started. This is going to be a quick one. Let me show you my map, my lovely artistic rendition of the old city. Now this is not including all of the new modern day part of Jerusalem. This is only the old city, and my trusty funny shaped map of Jerusalem. I still think it looks like a flat baseball bat, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, this is the map that Nehemiah had when he went back into Jerusalem and was working on the walls. And you see here, of course it's backwards, so it's pointing north, but we started over here with the sheep gate. We are going counterclockwise, so the movement is, no, I'm sorry, this is the sheep gate, red, sorry about that. Sheep gate, and then here's the Temple Mount area. We're going counterclockwise, so just imagine that this is backwards. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the sheep gate. Jerusalem was a fortress city. Major cities usually built strong walls, and the northern part of Jerusalem, the old city, this part here, these two towers are fortress towers. This part of the map, the topography of it was very rocky, very steep, and it needed extra protection. Just a little tidbit there. It needed extra guards. It needed extra depth in the walls, if you will. But as we go further south, it didn't get quite as it didn't need quite as much. Let me put it that way. So we're going to talk about the fish gate today, and you can find that in Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 3. So if you want to just open up your Bibles to that, if you haven't already read that chapter, I would encourage you to do that. Nehemiah is a book. It's a historical record. It's a book of return to Jerusalem. It's a book of renewed commitment of the Israel people. It's very exciting. It has a lot of praise and worship attached to it, because Nehemiah is just happy to be back and wants to rebuild the city that God calls his own dwelling place. So look at verse 3 of Nehemiah, and let's go from there. The sons of Hassanah built the fish gate. They laid its beams and set its doors, its bolts, and its bars. I wonder if it smelled fishy after all these centuries. I don't know, but the significance of this location on the wall, in the wall, the significance of it is because it's a trade route. It opens up, look at my fancy little pointer here. It opens up into the road that led to Damascus in Syria, led to other points north, and so there was a lot of trade going on. This was also where the fishing industry would come through to Jerusalem and bring their supplies and bring their fish, and there would be a large fish market in this area, and that's where they did their business. And it's very likely that that's where the disciples who were fishermen would be coming in, and they would bring their supplies in, they would get their nets repaired, they would bring their catch in. There's 3 waterways that come through here, through Jerusalem. Jordan River, of course, and then the Sea of Galilee a little further to the north, and then the Mediterranean Sea over to the west. Okay, so kind of get an idea of where we're at. And what was going on with the fish gate, they, like I said, would bring their nets in for repairs if necessary, purchase supplies, and just that was their business. Fishing was the main industry for Jerusalem and brought in fish from, like I said, the Jordan, the Sea of Galilee, and the Mediterranean Sea. This gate was also, as I said, a trade route going to the north. And if you look into the prophetic word, it talks about trouble coming from the north in the last days before Jesus returns. And so you've got Syria, and then you've got all the other parts of the prophecy up in the north like that. Russia, Iran, all of that is up there in the northern regions. Today, if you visit the Fish Gate, it's not called the Fish Gate anymore. It is called the Damascus Gate. And it's one of the largest entrances into the old city and opens up into the Muslim Quarter, which is the largest Muslim community in Jerusalem. There's other small pockets around, but in the old city, it's divided up into different quarters, different communities. So this opens up into the Muslim Quarter. Well, there is a spiritual application to this, and it's quite fascinating, actually. If you know who Saul is, his Jewish name is Saul. He was a Jewish rabbi. His Gentile name was Paul. It was not changed by God. He was a dual citizen of Rome and Israel, so he had two pronunciations, if you will. And he was called Saul in his Jewish name, and then he was called Paul in his Gentile influences. Well, Saul, would have left through this gate on his way to Damascus with orders to arrest and possibly kill the new believers in Messiah. In Acts 9, we learn that it was on this very road to Damascus that the Lord stopped Saul in his tracks. Some Bible versions say that he was knocked off his horse flat on his back and he was blinded for 3 days. And we know this to be Saul's conversion experience. We're told that in Acts chapter 9, where he literally repented from trying to stop the new believers and instead becoming one of the primary apostles who preached and taught to the Gentile world. And it is also this gate, the fish gate, that Jesus may have been visiting or going through when he began to talk to his disciples about becoming fishers of men, or evangelists, if you want to put it in today's terms. Several of them were fishermen, and so this was an opportune analogy, a great analogy for Jesus to use, saying, I'm calling you to come and become fishers of men, bringing people in, preaching the good news of the kingdom of God. And so we don't see fishermen coming in too much anymore, but it is still a very active area of Jerusalem. As I said, it's one of the larger entrances to Jerusalem. And if you ever get a chance to go, I would strongly encourage you to take a tour of the gates. It's only about a 2.5 mile trek around the old city, but it is very congested. There's a lot of people coming and going. There's a lot of merchants that are selling their wares. There's a lot happening in those areas. But it's a great reminder of how the gospel came to be spread when Saul left Jerusalem, and he was changed from a murderer to a messenger. And he's got an exciting story in the book of Acts, if you want to check that out as well. Well, I hope that this is going to be a fun series for you. Very short today. I just want to remind you to click like and share this video. Share the YouTube video as well. Just want to get the word out, and it's just something new, something different, and I hope you had a good time with it today. Have a good day, and God bless.